To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Taking a live look outside at the Disneyland Resort area. As a matter of fact, just across the street from the Disneyland Resort as we see the sidewalk alongside Howard Johnson Hotel. And as we pan back, you'll get a wide-scaping view of the Disneyland Resort on this beautiful Saturday, filled with Matterhorn, Space Mountain views. Again, if we can't be there physically, at least we can be there virtually. Big thanks to HojoAnaheim.com for that shot. Hello, everyone. It's Wade back here with you once again for another beautiful Kingdom Report Live. It is always wonderful to have you with us. Always wonderful to be a part of your weekend. Thanks so much for spending some time with us as we connect you to more of what makes you happy. And this broadcast, it is filled with news, very big developments over the course of the last week to share with you. But we can't do it alone, can we? No, we need all of our friends with us. And joining us here today from AttractionFaction.net, Tyler Crouch and Katrina Manzone.
Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday, one and all.
It is the happiest of Saturdays, especially with cool shirts like yours, Tyler. Who are you wearing?
We're doing another fashion show, huh?
Yeah.
I've got my underrated People Movers shirt on today.
I would say very underrated.
Tomorrowland Movers.
Such a cool logo.
This is one of those shirts that came out when they did like the May Madness or the March Madness type stuff. I keep calling it May, but I mean March Madness stuff, where you could buy like different shirts, for different attractions and rep your team basically. And so mine, of course, is the People Mover.
Awesome logo. Cool to have that shirt along with us, a little piece of Walt Disney World. And speaking of Walt Disney World reporter Gared Hassel standing by. Good day, sir.
Hello, everyone. I'm live from the Snuggly Duckling, here to bring you the most delicious of sweets and the sweetest of drinks.
Oh, my goodness. And being sweet yourself just makes it that much more special. And the man who makes the world turn here, it is from the production dungeon, producer Curt.
Why, hello, Wade.
Producer Curt, it's so good to see you on this beautiful Saturday. And what are you sipping there?
Oh, it's my BB-8 cup.
A BB-8 cup, you say?
It's, from the parks.
Tell me about this BB-8 cup.
It's quite amazing, right? You'd think that holds a lot of liquid there. But in fact, no, it's only about half of the liquid actually gets held. But, it's still.
So was it worth the price? Does he roll
around?
Oh, yeah, he's pretty on the ball.
Oh, hey. You got to get one of those rim shot sound effects.
Excuse me?
The rim? Like the ba-dum-cha, isn't that what they call it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I'm just messing with you at this point.
Yeah, well, that's a shame. I mean, with all the humor we throw around here, I feel like sound effects like that would be very, very well played if they were in fact played. Great to have you with us once again, ladies and gentlemen, as we dive into the big news of the week. Walt Disney World has officially announced a reopening date coming July the 11th in a phased reopening for theme parks. It is official now as Walt Disney World's phased reopening plans have gone through to the Orange County mayor for approval, who has, and to the governor of the state of Florida, who has also approved plans to move forward. As Walt Disney World officially opens July the 11th with Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom coming online first, we then we'll start to see other parks come online. So July the 15th, we will see Epcot join the ranks, as well as Disney's Hollywood Studios. Let's get the initial reaction. We've been waiting for this news for a while. We've been speculating for a long time as to when the parks might reopen, what dates they might put forth, as so much in Orlando seems to have been brought back online for, sort of beginning in June. We definitely thought Disney would follow suit in some capacity, and I believe it was Katrina who had predicted that it would be July, right?
Yeah. It's a little too early, but I'm still taking the win because I still said July.
Yeah, you did. Tyler, how you feeling about a July 11th return for 2 parks, and then a couple days later seeing Epcot and Hollywood Studios come online? Interesting strategy, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, I think we've all been kind of saying that they're probably going to do a staggered opening for the parks. And I'm kind of with Katrina where it feels too early still. And like you said when we were chatting over the week, Wade, that they mentioned how the infection rate has been down in the county, and it's kind of like, well, yeah, that just shows that quarantine is working, and I don't know, maybe that'll go up when more people from around the world start coming. Hopefully not, but I'm excited. I am excited, and I'm happy that things are gonna definitely be rolling for when we are planning on going out in November and things like that. So I'm excited, but I am cautiously optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic, I think, is a great way to put it. Gared, July 11th, Walt Disney World reopening. How you feeling about it?
I feel pretty good about that, even though it's a little bit later than my June 22nd guess. I'm very ecstatic. I think it's good because Disney is going to allow places such as Universal, Orlando, and SeaWorld to open up, and they'll be able to see how things are being handled, and then they can change their plans, whether to loosen it or tighten guidelines and such. So I think it's a good date. Unfortunately, we won't get the 4th of July fireworks spectacular that everyone is excited about, but at this point, I'm just happy to have the parks back and to have some magic, because I think the magic's been trapped in those gates, and now it's going to burst open, and we're going to feel that magic.
Is that what it looks like when you feel it?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, it's just
wow.
like that, except it's usually in there's usually like doves coming out. But since I'm in the Magic Kingdom, I can't really bring out the doves.
I understand.
So there's a lot of doves, and a couple reindeer.
Yeah, feel that magic. There's an intensity to it.
So it's like Santa Claus and a magician got together.
That's a
or
so descriptive.
Like
I felt like I was there
with Sven the reindeer.
Oh my. Sweet Sven. Well, looking forward to a July 11th and July 15th opening for Walt Disney World theme parks. And that comes along with some other things in terms of soft openings, as Jim McPhee, the Senior Vice President of Walt Disney World, came to announce. It looks like during the presentation in which they made before the Orange County Task Force in order to announce Walt Disney World's return, that looks like there's going to be several audiences experiencing Walt Disney World before the July 11th opening. It appears that they are planning on doing a reopening with cast previews and doing some soft preview days for annual pass holders, as well as DVC members, Disney Vacation Club members, and Club 33 members as well, in which advanced reservations may be required. I can totally see that happening. And further details have yet to be released as to how those soft openings are going to go, but certainly a way to sort of commit to Disney's most, I think, dedicated groups. That's Disney's most dedicated demographic will certainly be given the first opportunity to come experience the parks, Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom. Knowing this, being annual pass holders, Katrina and Tyler, you're coast-to-coast annual pass holders. So knowing this, if you guys were invited, is this something that you would go to as a soft opening, or are you going to hold out for maybe after they get their trial run in?
I think we would definitely hold out. I mean, especially considering we have to fly all the way across the country to get there, and then you're going to have to probably have reservations to get into the parks, I'm guessing, even though it's going to be like a soft open. I think we would want to wait and see how they handle it. I mean, I think I even want to wait and see how they handle Disneyland before I go back the first day or two, so
we would be homeless because the resorts won't even be open. Who knows? Like, we don't know which resorts are going to be open and whatnot, so we have to get like a hotel. But if I was a local, I would still not go.
Yeah. And this, you bring up a great point. Oh, there's a local. You bring up a great point, and that is that many of the resort hotels aren't even online yet in terms of making reservations, and that's something that we'll definitely dive into here. But that's something that even just moments before going into sort of this content, we were trying to book a reservation for anywhere between July 11th and the 17th, and it just can't be done yet. It's not open, so they're sort of rebuilding the wheel, if you will, when it comes to how they operate out at Walt Disney World. But back to the question, Gared, you're considered a local. If you get invited, is that something that you would consider doing, jumping in for those soft previews?
I would. Of course, I'm in a different situation than most people, being from Orlando now, and I would go there because I want to see what they would implement, and I would to the T follow every guideline that they have, because to be invited to a preview is truly a unique experience. I've been able to do that with a couple of attractions, such as the World of Pandora, and I know just how sacred those are. And even though we're in this COVID-19 world, I want to experience it and see it all, and I want to share that magic with everyone and all our wonderful viewers, because it needs to be experienced, and I'll just share it until everyone else gets to see it.
Oh, very good. Yeah, Walt Disney World coming back online is a big deal for the travel industry, a very big deal for so many of the Orlando attractions that, sort of operate and function out there in Florida. And this is something that, as they've come online, I know that there's been a lot of speculation as to, when that was going to happen. And now, they're going to wait until July, whereas so many are opening their doors, Universal being, I think, the next big dog in the yard, Universal opening up in June. And I've heard two things from the CEO of Disney this week. And one was very much we're Disney, we're bigger, so we care. So we're going to wait and be absolutely certain of safety and health and all of that. And that's why we've moved it to July. And then I've heard in a different interview he said, logistically, we couldn't open in June. There was no way, because we are completely overhauling our system and everything that we're trying to do in terms of reservations and the way we get people set up. And so everything that we knew up until this point is very different. And so things are changing. And so we couldn't realistically do it until July. So it's going to give us a little bit of time to figure things out. So it's an argument, I guess, that works both ways for the favor of the company, but certainly something that is nice to hear that they're trying to figure out a new way to do things in a post sort of isolation quarantine world, where more and more people are venturing out, more and more states are opening up, and now our Magic Kingdom is coming back online for the first time. So more details to come as Disney releases them, more details to come as reservations come online for hotels and how the properties are going to work, and if even all of the hotels come back online for the first round of visitors, we will certainly see as days march on. Let's get to the other big story, and that is this one here: how Disney World is going to reopen, how and what they are going to do and put in place for visitors to come join them. There's a lot to know here, so let's dive into it. As Walt Disney World returns July the 11th, there is some things to consider before making your plans, and mainly that comes down to three critical categories for Walt Disney World. First being new ticket sales and hotel reservations. They say at this time we are temporarily pausing new ticket sales and Disney Resort hotel reservations so we can focus on guests with existing tickets and reservations. Existing ticket holders and annual pass holders will be able to make a theme park reservation before new tickets are sold, and we will be reaching out to these guests soon to provide additional details. We will resume new sales of tickets and Disney Resort hotel reservations after that period of time, and theme park reservations will be limited due to attendance limitations and will be subject to availability. So this is something that's a big part of the way they are going to manage crowds moving forward. Obviously, reduce capacity within the parks. As we understand it, about 30% is where it's going to hover to start. And I know that this is a big piece to how they are reinventing their wheel. So if you are an annual pass holder, looks like you're going to have to make reservations now. If you are somebody that was, more of a local who liked to drop in after work. Probably not going to happen in the near future based on the way they're setting things up. The other big piece to this is people that have purchased tickets ahead of time. Will they be honored or won't they? Heard the other day somebody who had reached out to Disney directly the same day these announcements were made and called Disney Reservation Center to ask, so do I get a refund here if I can't use these tickets during my trip and they're not dated, and how does this work? And unfortunately, the representative on the other end at the Disney Reservation Center didn't seem to know anything, had no idea the announcement had even been made, and the communication had not even trickled down yet. Katrina, as a travel professional, I know that you're probably hearing a lot about how people are trying to deal with vacations that were planned, and we want to make it very clear when it comes down to it, a Disney vacation really is a privilege, and it's a thing that you pay out the nose for, but it's not a right. Okay. And there's a lot more important things in the world going on to be concerned with, certainly. But knowing that you are, a travel professional and sort of in this industry, I know that you're hearing a lot from people that had plans, and now it seems like they've kind of been upended, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple that have canceled and a couple that are still kind of waiting to see what's happening, because again, like it's like very fluid. Everything keeps changing all the time. You never know what the reservations are going to be like down the road, but through the channels that I've seen through other agents, they've had people, as soon as this information was released, immediately cancel all of their trips upcoming and probably the foreseeable future. Because again, it's really hard, because if you're saving all this money and you're trying to go to Disney World and you want to have the best possible vacation, then to be honest, I wouldn't tell you to go right now. I would wait, save more of your money and try to go in the next couple years, because I feel like the people that are going to go to Disney now are the people that have already experienced that Disney magic and still want to kind of uphold it and keep it and understand the limitations that are going to be there. Like no fireworks, no character meet and greets, no character dining. And that's what a lot of first time Disney people want to do. And so it's going to be really hard for them to have that Disney magic. And sadly, I don't want to like say all first timers think that this is a right and that they have every right to have all this stuff happen. But it is a privilege to go to Disney. Like we've talked about before.
Well, if you're paying for, I don't mean to interrupt, but if you're paying for, it's not like the prices are getting cheaper.
No.
So you know what I mean? It's so you do feel like you are kind of owed that firework experience if you're going to pay the same rate.
But if you're going into it knowing that it's canceled, then you have nothing to complain about. But
right. No, I agree. I'm not. Yeah.
But I feel really bad for the people that, again, that are hoping and loving and like wishing to go back to Disney or go to Disney for the first time. They've, been like furloughed. They've been going through really hard times and they just want to escape the world and get to Disney. And sadly, you're never going to escape anymore, because Disney's going to have to do the same thing. You have to wear a mask. You're not going to get that Disney magic. So it's been really, really hard. And they've canceled the dining reservations for everybody, which is even harder now on travel agents, because dining used to be 180 days in advance, and now they're canceling all dining and starting fresh and starting that 60 days in advance. So it's going to be harder for the travel agents. And so just be really kind to your travel agent, because it's not their fault. They're not the bad guy. They're doing the best that they can. It's not their fault that their dining has been canceled. They're going to do their best to try to get those dining reservations for you again. But it is a big bummer.
We want to make it very clear, too, that if you've never planned a Walt Disney World vacation before, it is a mission in itself. There is so much that goes into a Disney World vacation. It's not like you just show up and everything magical happens to you. There is planning, preparation for months in advance, sometimes 6 months in advance, depending on if you know what you're doing or not. If you want to have a good trip, you're planning at least 6 months out. And that goes down to everything from your FastPasses to your dining reservations, reservations to your hotel reservations to the way transportation works. There's a lot to know going into a Walt Disney World stay and a Walt Disney World experience that I think goes over a lot of sort of commoner visitor type heads. They just don't know. And so that's something that we definitely try to educate people about here. When it comes to trip planning, there's so much to know, far more to know, I should say, with Walt Disney World than Disneyland, that's for sure. And let's talk about dining and experiences here. Disney says in order to foster physical distancing during this time, upon reopening, our offerings, restaurants, and other experiences, such as behind-the-scenes tours, will be limited in capacity and other experiences may remain closed. As a result of limited capacity, we have made the difficult decision to cancel all existing dining reservations and experience bookings, including Disney dining plans included in packages. That's a huge deal. We will reopen dining and experience bookings with more limited numbers closer to when the parks reopen. We will also shift from a 180-day booking window to a 60-day booking window for dining and experience bookings going forward to allow guests to make their plans closer to their visits. I know that dining might seem sort of silly and frivolous, in the grand scheme of things, like, oh, well, you can just walk up and grab a burger anywhere, can't you? You can, but dining has become such an instrumental part of the Disney World experience that they even created the Disney dining plan around that. And I know that, nobody in this group seems to be a huge fan of the Disney dining plan, or at least doesn't really use it all that much. I've used it in the past, and I find that it just kind of requires you to eat all the time and sort of schedule your day around just eating constantly. But talking more about like these experiences that have also been canceled en masse, and they're going to set up a new way in which to book your experiences based on if they're COVID safe. Tyler, are you aware of any sort of experiences that Disney World has that are unique, like other than the VIP tours that if they get canceled, it's a hard thing to deal with because maybe you had to put money down, or maybe they're hard to get experiences. From your perspective, have you ever done one like that?
We've done a couple of those tours, the VIP tours before, but I mean, what comes to mind is like the tours like at Animal Kingdom where you get to walk through oh gosh, I'm blanking on it. The safari. You get to walk through the safari and you get to do stuff like that. And I'm guessing all that stuff is canceled as well. But I mean, yeah, on our side, we had reservations with our friend over there in November, and she literally made them. And then like a day later, they all got canceled, including our Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So that was a really tough blow. I guess if they have to change the system up, they have to change the system up. But I'm just shocked there was no way. It doesn't make sense to me that they're going to know who had prior reservations, but they couldn't take those reservations over, that seems kind of weird to me. But that's what's happening. And I guess if we want Disney back, we can't be that mad about it. Hopefully we get the reservations that we wanted to get again.
I get what they're trying to do. I get it. Like a lot of people book 180 days in advance and they actually have they're just doing it just to do it. They don't even know if they're going to be going yet. And so they're taking up a lot of reservation time or reservation spots for people that actually do want to go. And so I get why they're trying to do the 60-day in advance. But then for the people that actually did have prior reservations, they're giving them like priority access to get the new reservations. And I don't know how that's going to work out because that just seems really silly. Why don't you just give them the reservations back or something close to it? That's
exactly what I'm saying.
I know.
Yeah.
I get
it. I think that's a little strange, but we obviously don't know the ins and outs of their new system, and hopefully actually this could maybe be a better system in the long run. We don't even know because sometimes I've had issues with making reservations and stuff in this current system. So maybe this will actually be an improvement in the long run. We will
hopefully it doesn't tie in with FastPasses when FastPasses come back, because that's stressful. Having to do FastPasses and dining at the exact same time, 60 days in advance, I would shoot myself.
And it's even harder for people like us who are on the West Coast, where you have to wake up super early in the morning to even get if you want to get on Flight of Passage, you better wake up at 4 a.m. So it's tough. It's really, and I feel really bad for people who have made these reservations multiple times now.
Sure.
because Disney keeps on, they're kind of not doing the right thing in a way, because they just keep on trying to make these deals and say, you should make your Disney vacation. Come on, come. We'll be open at this part of it, and then they kind of keep on extending it out. So I think it's a little unfair to those people, to be honest with you.
I also have one more point. I just want to bring it up.
Sure.
So as a travel agent, it's really hard because they tried, for people that, like, to go off of your point, the people that were booked from March to end of May, they gave a little bonus Disney dining plan. For if you booked June 1st to the end of September, you got a free Disney dining plan. Now they're canceling the Disney dining plan. And that was the way to keep that reservation secure for yourself and to give them a little bonus for all the stress that was happening, with booking or like canceling things and rebooking. So now they don't get a Disney dining plan, and instead they're offering like 35% off the room. But the whole point of this was you already had a really killer deal on the room, and now you have to rebook with 35% off and no Disney dining plan. And so now it's just kind of like, what's the point when you can just wait for another like deal in the future? Because you're not going to get the deal plus 35% off. So it's a bummer for people that were getting their hopes up for the free Disney dining plan, and now it's not even valid anymore. So it's very stressful for people.
We just got very lucky too, because we made our reservations, and then a couple days later they were like, no more hotel reservations. And it was like, oh wow, well, I'm really glad we got in. Then it's gonna be weird times for a little bit, but we'll get through it, I think.
It's also very interesting that, I mean, you have a reservation as far out as like Thanksgiving, and that got canceled. That's a lot of that's a really far out window there, to go ahead and pull the plug.
Yeah, I think they said until September 2021, which is crazy. So if you had any reservations for any dining, or, well, I guess
you can't really have it in 2021, but
all that's, anything you had till 2021 is gone till near the end of 2021. So
before the 50th.
Almost like it was planned. So sad. Well, the other big piece to the new plans for Walt Disney World's grand reopening happened to be with FastPasses and extra magic hours. The company says as a result of the COVID-19 impact, the FastPass Plus service will be suspended for the time being, as we plan to use additional queue space to manage capacity at our attractions and maintain physical distancing. We will automatically cancel existing FastPass Plus selections and share any future updates on the service at a later date. Also, please note that upon reopening, extra magic hours will be temporarily suspended. Gared, we definitely saw with not only this announcement, reduced hours in general for the parks that have now gone live on Walt Disney World's official website, whereas Magic Kingdom is now closing at, like, say, 7 p.m. In July, that's kind of unheard of, right? In July, typically, because it's so hot during the day, parks usually would extend open until like 1 a.m. or something like that. And I find now that that's just not happening. 7 p.m. closing time, and then there's like an 11 a.m. Opening for July 15th in Epcot. So that's even more sort of surprising. 11 a.m., not, 8 a.m., that sort of thing. I see that you're a little frozen in time there, Gared, but maybe we can still hear you.
I don't think he's moving.
Yeah, no?
Yeah, I'm moving right now. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you fine.
Can you
Go
hear
ahead
me?
and speak.
Oh, okay. That's a great picture of me. I am personally looking forward to the heat of 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. I once had the opportunity to work the 24-hour event, and during that time I was sweating from the moment I got there till the moment I left. It is incredibly hot during those times, especially July of all times. It's already 90 degrees by the time you hit 10 a.m. So it's going to be truly unique to be there. But hopefully with the less amount of guests being in the park, it'll make things a little bit more breathable, because there'll be more space in the shops to walk around in, as well as just more space in the queue in order to fully enjoy that air conditioning. So it's going to be a little rough for guests, especially it's a first time. And like I said, I'm going to back up Katrina. If it's your first time and you're planning on going to Walt Disney World, hold off until this thing blows over and there's more freedom, such as the the parades and shows and fireworks, because you're not going to get that true magical experience. So I truly, it's going to be a unique experience to see these parks with such short hours. But I'm looking forward to getting back there and enjoying it. If you're a veteran like us on the show, you'll, because you get to go back and experience that before first time, or you won't get to fully understand everything. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to the parks reopening. Hey there, you can see me now.
There you are.
But yeah, but no, those times are going to be a little rough, but I think they're using it as an opportunity to use the heat to essentially cook out the COVID virus, as well as using the extra time to disinfect. And you know what? If it's for the greater good of all guests' health, then know what? I'm okay with that. If they need more time to cook or to cook the virus out, then know what? They have my vote. But yeah, we just have to take it day by day, because we've never experienced anything like this, and it's this is truly unique in the history of the Walt Disney Company and the world. So I can't wait to sweat in my mask, but that's how it is.
That's right. No, great to at least have it back in some capacity. You're right, but so many changes, so many things to think about before planning a trip, or even considering maybe moving your trip down the line based on all of the new restrictions. I know that Disney has also said that they're reaching out to guests affected by these updates, and with additional information and details they're going to have moving forward, including refunds they are offering, so they understand how much excitement is building around their reopening, but that they do ask for patience as they're trying to reach out to individuals that they've had to mass cancel on, and trying to figure out ways in which they can still rebuild their vacation dreams. The other big piece, I think, to this, guys, is that very quietly Disney went ahead and decided to also add into the mix that not only was it originally 3 years old and up had to wear masks in Disney Springs, but now with the announcement of the theme parks coming back online, quietly they changed that to be 2 years old and up wearing masks in the theme parks. The only thing that I can say to that is, I'm not a parent, but that's going to be a very difficult thing to make happen, I would presume, just because a 3-year-old, I think, was a struggle. Having a 2-year-old trying to keep a mask on, especially when it's 100 degrees outside or 98 degrees outside with that humidity, that's going to be a challenge. So for all those parents, bless you for your patience. Bless you for trying to abide by these rules. I don't know how that's going to work out for you. I just can't imagine it's going to be fun. So something to definitely think about if you are planning a trip and you have little ones. The other big piece to this is the Know Before You Go website that Disney is offering with all their updates, with everything that you need to know before your trip. You can visit disneyworld.com/updates for more information. All right, stick around, my friends. A lot more Kingdom Report Live for you next, including some questions and answers for you. Stick around.
Hey, Kingdom team. Do you need more magic in your life? We understand, which is why we connect you to more of what makes you happy 3 times a week. Catch our theme park coverage, vlogs, and reviews every Tuesday and Thursday. And experience the Kingdom Report Live, streaming every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. That's new content every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, crafted with you in mind. Don't miss out. Be sure to subscribe and activate notifications at The Kingdom Report on YouTube, and catch every update throughout the week at Kingdom Report Live on social media. See you there.
Kingdom Team All Call time, it is here. You know what that means, don't you? It's question and answer time, Q&A. If you've got questions for us, well, we've got answers for you, as so many of you do, over at kingdomreportlive.com, submitting there or leaving comments for us at youtube.com/The Kingdom Report, or maybe on our Facebook page at Kingdom Report Live. So grateful every week for your questions, as the team is always here to listen, always here to provide some of that trusted theme park perspective for you. And we'll jump right into our first question here. Coming to us from LexiGoof300. She asks, Now that Disney World has announced their reopening dates for parks, do you feel Disneyland theme parks will reopen this summer? We spoke recently about Downtown Disney perhaps coming back online as the first sort of leg of the Disneyland Resort, as Downtown Disney would fall within that sort of retail mall type atmosphere space that is defined in the phased reopening orders for the state of California. But as the phased reopening orders start to accelerate here in the state of California, which has been, I think, the biggest drawback, Florida's kind of hit the gas quickly. California has been much more of a staggered reopening across the state based on counties and based on, where you live within the state and counts and stuff like that. But we'll jump on over to Gared first. Gared, when you think about Disneyland potentially reopening this summer, how practical do you think that is?
It depends on how you define summer, because summer in Florida is 11 months of the year. So that's kind of a broad area. But if you're going traditional time, I do not see Disneyland reopening by August, because August is typically late summer. Maybe September get reopened, but Los Angeles and Anaheim is a completely different monster than Orlando is. Orlando runs on tourism, so and there's also a lot less people. There aren't 3 million people in one close area like there is in LA. So for Disney to reopen, I think late August to early September seems more realistic. And like I said last week, or when we spoke about Downtown Disney, they will not reopen the two separately. I think they're going to come as a complete package, because oftentimes people use Downtown Disney as sort of a gateway into the parks, because down Harbor Boulevard, there's only, you can't there unless you're parking at one of the far away lots over there. So September is going to be my bet in that. But when it does, I've known that they will take the cues of Walt Disney World to make it that much more successful. Because I don't know, instead of having 4 parks, you're dealing with 2. So I think they can utilize the cast members, and it's already pretty well organized at Disneyland. Like, they've done it well for 60 plus years. So September seems like a good date for them to implement plans and actually see it come together.
So after summer, potentially the beginning of fall there for you. I know that cast members and unions are in discussions at the moment as to what a return to Disneyland is going to look like. And, I would say that the unions on the West Coast are very different from the unions on the East Coast for Disney. The unions on the West Coast have so much more of a ferocious bite when it comes to the company and negotiations and stuff like that, that there's even talk of, pushing this further down the line, potentially, late fall even, depending on what the unions want and are asking for. A lot of cast member hesitation, too, about jumping right back into work. I think that's the other big topic that we haven't really discussed, is a lot of cast members are concerned about going back into these environments. I think as many people in society are, those folks that are concerned about the health adversities that could be facing them based on whatever data that they're looking at. And then, of course, the individuals that on the opposite side of that, and just like, get me back to work, whatever happens, like, throw me back into things. But Tyler, do you think we could see a Disneyland reopening by Disneyland's anniversary, July 17th? I mean, as Disney World comes online for the beginning of July, you think maybe Disneyland might try and strike up some magic and surprise us for their birthday?
No, that's not happening, unfortunately. We are going to be Disneyland. You know what? I think after all these years, Disneyland probably just wants to be alone on its birthday anyway. So that's what's happening.
Order in.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, I just want to do some DoorDash and just chill. Can we please just chill? Anyway, I don't think July is going to happen whatsoever. I mean, I'm kind of closer with Gared, where I'm guessing it's going to be like late August personally. I'm getting the thumbs up from Gared. He's so excited. But yeah, I just think late August is probably what we're going to see. And I don't know. I'm with you. We have a friend who lives with a couple high risk people, and she is not too excited about going back to work, even though, it's probably something. It's hard either way, right? You want to get paid, but you also don't want to be a danger to the people you love. So it's going to be a tough situation for a lot of people.
That's for sure. Katrina, are we looking at a summer reopening at any point or closer to fall?
Gosh, should I go a 2 for 2? Let me, gosh. I would say like, it has to be like at the end of September. I feel like, I know Orange County is really trying to push hard to open up everything ASAP. We've talked about it before. Orange County on the West Coast, not the East Coast.
Right.
So they quickly opened up like churches and all that stuff. And then like within like a day later, they opened up to phase 3. And I know they're really pushing hard to try to get restaurants open, full capacity, get it going. And I think they're trying to like push Disney to like say, hey, everything's back on. We're like earning money. Everything's good. Let's open up and like start bringing business back to the community. And then Disney's all like, slow your roll. We're going to wait. So I feel like it has to be after Memorial Day, just because I feel like Disney always gets busy around Memorial Day because like the day's off, school's going into session. It's like their last big bang for your buck kind of thing. Like, let's go to Disney. So I feel like it has to be after like all the holidays, and just to kind of bring it back into September, because it would be a crazy thing to open up in August when everybody's just like, oh my God, school's going back in session. We got to go to Disney and get the last like hurrah. And then I think that would be just a nightmare.
Yeah, I think they strategically avoided July 4th over there in Disney World.
Sure
and
did.
that's a good point, that they'll probably avoid Memorial Day too.
If they're smart.
Yeah, which they seem to be
Labor Day.
in a lot of ways.
I mean, they are. I mean, I'm glad that they bypassed July 4th, because I was really scared, because Universal opened up before, and there's a lot of people like to go visit, during a holiday. So I just hope that they wait.
Right. And we mean Labor Day, not Memorial Day. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
Labor Day.
God, I'm like the worst with the, yeah, thank you.
Quite all
We
right.
already had that one.
Yeah. It's all
the
right.
other
just
one.
happened, yeah.
I'm
They
sorry.
book in summer, don't they? Like that's
I
kind of.
know.
I've made the
I'm
mistake
so bad
myself.
with the names of these things.
Well done, Katrina. I will say, though, in knowing some of our sources over at the Disneyland Resort, we've heard a couple different times that it sounds like managers for different downtown Disney destinations are being called back to work right now for ordering purposes. That, to me, indicates that we might see a downtown Disney reopening before a parks reopening. I know Gared subscribes to that idea that it's all in one. I think I've even agreed with him that it'd probably be a lot smarter, right, to do an all-encompassing opening rather than just downtown Disney, because downtown Disney, by comparison to Disney Springs and Walt Disney World, downtown Disney in California is a sliver compared to Disney Springs, and it's very hard to get back and forth up and down downtown Disney when it might be crowded, controlled capacity or not. There are some tight corridors in there, so managing downtown Disney first might be an experiment. Who knows? But from our sources' standpoints, it sounds like they are calling some management back to work in terms of getting things set up for a downtown Disney possible reopening at some point this summer. It also sounds to me like, from a logistical perspective, to get those theme parks back up and running, there's a lot that goes into that, right? So you're trying to train tens of thousands of cast members to get up to speed on what's going on, and trying to understand how to handle a COVID-19 aftermath, a COVID-19 living with it even, and trying to deal with throngs of people that would like to experience things that maybe they can't even experience, right? Because certain things are going to be closed. We talked about there July the 4th, Walt Disney World avoiding that date. They're not even going to have fireworks, to begin with. So why show up on July the 4th, other than it being a holiday, if you can't even see the best part of it, which is the fireworks show. So we may see a Disneyland Resort partial reopening at some point this summer, especially as we hear people going back to work. But the theme parks, who knows? It's really up in the air at this point. So we want to thank you, LexiGoop300, for the question. All right. Next question comes to us from Jenna Frey. She says, even though it's expected to be temporary, there seems to be a lot of restrictions and added obstacles in place to visit Disney World right now. Do you think it's worth trying to plan a trip? So something that we've spoken about now that Walt Disney World is officially coming back July the 11th for Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom, and then July the 15th bringing back online Epcot and Disney's Hollywood Studios, is even with that, there are so many unknowns, right? There's so much to still consider about the whole experience that hasn't even been defined yet by Disney. And so if you're asking us right now, is it worth it? Do you feel that this is something that's worth planning a trip around? I'll tell you from my perspective, guys, and I think I've said this before, just knowing going into this that so much was going to be restricted and there were going to be obstacles put in place and that things were going to be potentially either eliminated or diminished in terms of what you can do. I've always stood the ground of probably not until things get back to normal or more sort of a sense of normalcy in terms of I can do everything that I want to do because I'm still paying the same price. That's my choice, right? I want to do that. I want to wait. I want to say down the line when things come back online, I'll go ahead and plunk my money down and make that visit. I think I've mentioned before, I had a May visit planned. That got canceled, right? And then I had a June visit planned. Obviously, that's not happening. So at this point, I do have an August trip that was planned. And that one I might still need to do for the sake of Mickey's not-so-scary Halloween party. So we'll see what happens there. But we'll jump on over to you, Tyler. Is this a time that you would consider planning a trip? I mean, they're asking for our perspective on it, so...
Yeah, I mean, if you're planning on doing it this summer, I would say no, personally. But we do have a trip planned for like Thanksgiving time. So I would plan a trip if it's further out. But for me personally right now, I don't want to go there until I at least see what's going on for a few months.
What do you think, Katrina?
Well, I mean, if you're a first timer and you want to go on your Disney World trip, I would say hold off until everything's back to normal. If you've been to Disney World multiple times and you already have experienced the usual things, parades, fireworks and stuff, and you just want to get back to Disney just to feel like a sense of normalcy and to feel that partial Disney magic again, and just walk down Main Street and just appreciate all these beautiful buildings in the castle, then I would say, yeah, start planning it for like a further out date, like for the Christmas time or maybe even the following year in 2021 in January, February, March, whatever. But, but have your expectations set to where you're not going to be able to see fireworks. So if that's like your main priority, you want to see fireworks, you want to see the parade, you want to see your kids with the characters, then I wouldn't do it.
Right, all those things you're missing out on because Disney has eliminated them in the short term. They say temporarily, of course. That's a big part of what that Disney experience is. Those fireworks, those parades, meeting those characters, all things they have to table for the time being due to the coronavirus and everything that you have to deal with on that front. Tyler, you have something
I have a quick question, actually. Do you guys think we're ever going to see Epcot Forever again? Do you think that show is gone now?
I mean, maybe it's going to be around forever.
I don't ever want to see it again.
No, really? Is that horrible for you?
A whole new world? What?
I didn't think it was that great, but it was better than nothing.
It's terrible.
Better than nothing, but I'd
rather have nothing.
I am curious if we've seen the last of that show. Like, will it just come back being the new Epcot show, or we shall see?
Yeah, I would imagine that we're probably may become Christmas time because Christmas tends to play to huge crowds and maybe we'll be in a different place in terms of health at that point. And I mean, who knows? But I just can't see fireworks even returning until 2021. I can't see big spectacles like that, especially getting people just all together in a group for any capacity. If they can go as long as they can without doing that and encouraging people to all congregate, I'm sure that that's what they want. So at any rate, let's check in with Gared. Would you plan a trip right now from your perspective, knowing everything that you know?
So again, my situation is different than most people in the nation. So to that, I would say it depends on a certain demographic. If you are an annual pass holder, such as myself, or if you are a local to Florida and the surrounding states, then I would say that a trip might be more worthwhile. But if you're in the case of, say, you guys who live out in California or even in the Midwest, it might not be very fruitful to do that just because you're spending more money to travel and then you don't get to experience everything like we've been saying countless times. However, if you are DVC or Club 33 and you have a little bit more invested into Disney, then I would say you want to get your investment So, for example, my girlfriend Ariel, her family is part of DVC, and even though the parks will not be fully operational, they want to go and experience their DVC because for those that do not know Disney Vacation Club, it's a timeshare and you put money down like any normal timeshare. And Ariel's family, they've put down this money, so they want to get that investment, even if it is just hanging at the resort and walking around and just maybe sightseeing a little bit. It's still better than doing nothing because you want to get that return on investment. So for me, if I was living in Florida and I had the money and time to kill, I would do a trip. But if it's your once in a lifetime opportunity to go to Disney, do not do it. Save your money so that way you can experience something more. Because if you don't do the trip now, you can save up more money, which allows you to stay at an even nicer resort or use it to buy even more memorabilia and just experience more. So if you can hold off. That is my recommendation from the Snuggly Duckling.
Thank you for that. Producer Curt, as somebody who takes your sort of annual trip out to Walt Disney World, what would you tell this questioner?
Well, for me, the big thing is the masks. Florida and masks. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You know, so I would highly recommend waiting until at least the restriction, either until winter time for that like one weekend or so, or for when the masks are gone. Because
that one weekend.
Yeah, that one weekend of winter that they get over there. But it's just not worth it currently, like this very second, for me to want to plan a trip. I'm still planning a trip next year for the 50th. I'm still planning on doing that, and I'm hoping that will be good. But for as of right now, I would say hold off.
Listen to that. So no's across the board from everybody. Hold off, and wait for some sort of. And I would say, I think even more so, and we've touched on it a little bit here, but I mean, just consider, even with these new restrictions, waiting until after summer and the heat of what Florida goes through. Just wait until that passes. You know, as Curt said, the one weekend where maybe, it might be cool. But wait until those cooler temps, period, just because I can only imagine the overheating that's going to happen with people that are having to wear masks in this summer environment, walking around these parks, and it's hot and muggy and gross in a normal summer day. And now you add a mask to it. That's going to be pretty unbearable if you're there trying to enjoy yourself. So from our perspective, there's your answer. We thank you so much for sending in your question. And our final question comes to us from Tiana's Place. Tiana's Place says, do you think that Mickey's Not So Scary, singular, Halloween party at Magic Kingdom or the Oogie Boogie Bash at California Adventure will go on as planned this year due to the pandemic? Excellent question, because so much, obviously, at Walt Disney World, as it comes back online July the 11th, so much has been canceled, right? So much has been already pulled in terms of future planning for people and their trips. Disney has done that as a way in which to set up the future of Disney World in this sort of temporary lifestyle that they're living in terms of dealing with the pandemic and trying to keep everybody healthy and safe. As of right now, it appears that anybody that has purchased tickets for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, those are still on. Nothing's happened in terms of refunds. Nothing has happened in terms of announcements for that to occur. On the other side of the country, though, for the Oogie Boogie Bash and Disneyland, as far as I know, those tickets have not gone on sale. Typically, those go on sale in April. Disneyland was closed during that time, and everything was shuttered. And so an announcement still has not been made. So my question on this question, in addition to what they're asking, is, does anyone think that we might see Halloween parties on one coast and maybe no Halloween parties on the other? Katrina, what say you?
I'm sad. I don't want that to happen. But I feel like the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party, that I don't think, I mean, they could still sell tickets and stuff, but I wouldn't want to go because the whole point of going is I love their fireworks. I live for those Halloween fireworks and then the parade. And so when you take those away, you're just dressing up in a super hot costume in August and wearing a mask on top of that and then going trick-or-treating. And who knows if you're still going to be able to go trick-or-treating and get candy because of the close proximity you have to be in to get that candy. And then for California, everything's a lot tighter there. And I mean, I really wanted to see that really cool path again over in like the Redwood Trail. That was like the coolest thing ever, but they're not going to have it because it's just too many people, and it's, no parade, no fireworks. I mean, I could care less about that. What is it called? The
World of Color.
The World of Color Villainous show. That was just really, really bad.
That was not a good show.
It was horrible. I don't know how many times I rolled and laughed throughout that whole thing. But it's just like close proximities, and I don't think they're going to handle it because they haven't even opened up Disneyland Park yet. So I can't imagine them trying to sell extra tickets for the Halloween party. And then for Disney World, I just can't see them having this parade or having this extra ticketed event when you can't really get the bang for your buck for it.
I mean, they are, already, I suppose, limited in capacity. That's the whole idea, right? For these special ticketed events, it's already capped. So at least they have that going for it. Tyler, do you think that there's going to be any alterations with Mickey's Not So Scary? Because at least we know as of right now it's still happening. And then on the West Coast, you think we're out of luck?
Yeah, I mean, well, to answer the first question, I think there will be some alterations, but we're going to have to wait and see if they even want to do fireworks at that point, and they very well might not. So you're right in saying that if they don't do the parades, if they don't do the fireworks.
Oh my God, the Sanderson sisters show.
Yeah, things like that. If they don't do those special events, then what's the point of buying a ticket to this thing? So. And, passing out candy, is that really going to happen? Or are they just going to wear gloves while they're passing out candy? Or what's going to be the deal with that? So there will probably be some alterations if they continue to do it, which honestly, I think they will. I really do think they're going to have a Halloween party. They need that money, and it gets a lot of people to come in. So that sounds like that's happening. And then for the second question, are they going to do it on this coast? I think they will, honestly. And there will be alterations, like I was saying, but I mean, I know that Universal Studios is planning to do Halloween Horror Nights. I know that Knott's is planning to do Knott's Scary Farm. So if these two places are planning their Halloween events, I have no reason I have no reason to think that Disney wouldn't also be planning their event. And just because they haven't put the tickets out yet, I don't think that means it's a no-go necessarily. So we'll have to wait and see. I know. I feel like I end like everything. We'll have to wait and see, but that's just kind of where we're at. Like nobody really has the answers to these things.
You're absolutely right. I mean, everyone's speculating on this, and we get asked these questions. I think because people are just looking for perspective on the matter, trying to understand what could happen, maybe things that they don't understand or they haven't been a part of in terms of prior parties and experiences. So they're trying to get a handle on it. Should I plan? Should I not? I think they're just looking for some sort of guidance from us, which is why we get those questions to begin with. So we want to make sure that it's clear. I mean, obviously we don't know for sure, right? The only thing that we do know for sure is that tickets have been sold. I have 2 of them in particular for an August date at Walt Disney World. As far as I know, it's happening. Okay, Mickey's Not So Scary. It's occurring in Walt Disney World. And as far as Disneyland goes, I wonder. Gared, being our Walt Disney World guy, you think that you're going to see some big alterations out there in terms of entertainment being reduced? You think that the passing out of candy, which I think is one of the things that every child looks forward to the most at Magic Kingdom, think that's going to be nixed or modified in some way?
Those are some good questions. I definitely think it's going to be modified in a major way. Even though, when you come to a Not So Scary party, you think of the fireworks, you think of the show, but don't forget, a majority of this thing are these special meet and greets that you can never meet, like a meet and greet with Captain Jack Sparrow, or meeting Jack and Sally, the 7 Dwarves, or Tarzan and Jane. You get these once in a lifetime, really unique experiences. And if they aren't even going to have characters come July that you can hug and interact with, it's going to be really tough. So a lot of progress will have to be made by the time August hits. And that's less than 1 full month, really, or around 1 full month to really get everything going. So I think if they can move things along and the status of this country improves, then it can still happen. I just worry about the fireworks and the parade. As for the candy, I think if they do gloves, they can make the candy happen because Disney's very clean with a lot of what they do. Like I constantly see people wiping things down. So they could do that, or they could put the candy in special Ziploc bags that then they hand so that there's not a whole lot of touching candy and such. But it's going to be interesting. Like as we've been talking, I've just been thinking how perhaps they might have to cancel some early dates of it and just do sort of like a Halloween overlay where they do projections on the castle and play the music, and that's about it. But as for Disneyland, first, the park needs to be open. Then I can answer that question truly. I'm going to go with no, just because it's a lot smaller. And I know it's a lot younger, but it looks cool. I think the Redwood Trail looks really, really cool, how each section's a different villain. But Magic Kingdom has, I would say, a 70% chance of being happening, while Disneyland's more like 30.
Yeah, I wonder if, like, for the you were mentioning the characters at Disney World, and I wonder if they could do something kind of like they did at Oogie Boogie Bash, where like each candy trail you go through, and not be exactly like this, but each candy trail you went through at Oogie Boogie Bash had like a villain representing it, and they had like a microphone, and they would talk to the crowd as they went by and everything. And I actually found that to be really cool because that way everybody got an experience with the character, rather than, you know, and you didn't have to wait in this big giant line to like go give them a hug or something. Like it wasn't quite as individualized, but I still thought it was a really cool thing they did, and maybe they could do something like that in Orlando.
I think that would be a good medium, Tyler. Like if you can't get that full on interaction, but you still want characters there, if they could at least call out to people, I would love it. Just have Captain Jack Sparrow yell at people and just cat call and do whatever he does best. I'd love that. Or well, Tarzan would just be more grunting and pounding on his chest. But let's be honest, when people go to see Tarzan, they don't go to talk to him. They go to look at him and
true.
Feel him. I'm gonna end the conversation there.
Oh my.
And you're looking to get catcalled by Captain Jack? Is that what I heard?
Me personally, it would be an honor.
Wow. I think you'd prefer to be catcalled by Gaston more than Captain Jack.
Ooh, yeah, Gaston, he has my heart.
Yeah, I knew it. See, and producer Curt, Halloween parties at Disneyland have become sort of a staple, especially for locals. It's become a really big thing for Southern California to go do. And I know that Walt Disney World, I mean, it's so popular out there that as Katrina has said in prior broadcasts, for God's sakes, they're starting it in the middle of August. She said. So knowing that, do you think, one, that we're going to see modifications of Mickey's Not So Scary in Florida and it's going to happen? And two, do you think Disneyland might say, not this year?
Well, I think modifications are definitely going to have to happen. Mm-hmm. There's no way they can keep it absolutely the same. It's just too close, especially if they're expecting another outbreak of this sometime in fall. Things could change rapidly by then. So who knows what they're planning now and what goes on then will be the same. Over here for California, though, I think California is just being run so much differently than Florida. The governor here has a different mindset on what's going on that I just don't see it being possible for it to be opening up this soon in terms of that kind of gathering. And if it is open, it's going to be so restricted to what it former shell of what it was that it might not even be worth it.
Certainly, I think on to that, if the Disneyland reopening date gets pushed out so far, even until late summer, beginning of fall potentially, based on all the factors, and especially as you had mentioned there, the governor's mindset for California is very different from the governor of Florida, and politics are playing a big part in decision making right now. Knowing
Definitely.
that. And knowing that all those decisions are coming down to how things are going to move forward, I can absolutely see a situation where Disneyland, far be it for Disneyland to bounce out on a ton of revenue made, right, from those Halloween parties because they are cash cows. But if Disneyland's already trying to reopen at the end of summer, or trying to reopen so close to these start dates, throwing a party on top of it, trying to manage, even if it is special ticketed and controlled capacity, trying to manage all that in addition to bringing theme parks back online, I think would be quite challenging.
I agree completely with everything that you just said.
And that is why you are our producer.
Thank you. Yeah.
Bless you.
You say it a lot better than I do.
Just agree with him and you got a job.
That's right.
I agree.
Wow. And you're staying.
All right.
Bless you, sir.
Oh, and I found your sound effect, Tyler.
Hey!
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 A rim
Somebody
shot.
make a joke.
I'm going to say it again. If we say rim shot over and over again, can we get in trouble?
I don't think that's the term. That is not the term right there, my man.
I'm pretty
My
sure
goodness. Well,
it is.
It totally is. Yeah,
it's
it's called a rim shot.
it's getting scandalous. Hey,
rim shot.
we want to thank you for sending in your question all about Mickey's Halloween party at Disneyland and Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party in Walt Disney World. Again, if you are interested in sending in your questions, KingdomReportLive.com is the place, or leave a comment under any of our videos at the Kingdom Report on YouTube or Kingdom Report Live on social media. You stick around, Kingdom Report Live continues next.
Do you know everything the ghost host is going to say before he says it? Are you ready to thank the Venetians each time you board Spaceship Earth? Can you recite Walt's opening day dedication speech? Then join the Kingdom team today, the influential legacy fan community featuring exclusive merchandise that will alert all who've come to this happy place that you are more than just another guest. You are a trusted theme park fan. Don't miss out. Join the Kingdom team right now by visiting the homepage at KingdomReportLive.com. That's KingdomReportLive.com. And now, back to the magic.
As we take a live look outside at the Disneyland Resort, Guardians of the Galaxy mission breakout in the distance, and as we tour over Cars Land and look on out towards the Incredicoaster California Adventure, you get to see sort of a swift look at the beauty of the Disneyland Resort. Want to thank everybody for being a part of the broadcast today. Why don't we go ahead and skip across the country, check in with folks as we depart. Gared, any closing notes for us?
Same thing I always say, stay active, be healthy, and remember, hugs and not drugs.
Wow, that is sentimental. Thank you for that.
I'm a simple person. You don't need much from me, just hugs and not... I don't like this show. You guys bully me with my own words.
It sounds like he was going to say something more.
But no, to the people that watch and the people on the show, I love you guys, but remember, hugs and not drugs.
Hugs and not drugs. That's right. To all of you, absolutely. And we want to say a special hello to all of our United Kingdom friends, everybody from the UK that tunes in and watches our content. Very grateful to have your viewership. Very grateful to connect you to more of what makes you happy and getting you some of this trusted theme park perspective. It means a lot as we see more and more of you joining us over on YouTube and experiencing the Kingdom Report. Hey, Tyler and Katrina, anything to say as we close up shop?
Just be safe out there and wear your mask, do your business, do the things you got to do, but also just take it easy. We don't want to go backwards. You know what I mean? Let's just keep on moving forward. And with everybody's help, we can go back to normal. That's what I want. I just want to go back to normal, but I want to do it the right way. So
I too agree what he said. I just want to go back to normal. I just want to hug my friends again. I miss people so much. So thank you everybody that's watching. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
You guys sound like Cher with "If I Could Turn Back Time."
Oh.
If I could find my way.
Keep on going. Yeah. Come on. You got this.
I need more friends. Oh my god.
Wow.
No, not that.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't mean it like that.
Oh,
No.
okay.
No.
I thought to look down and like punch you, like bam.
Oh.
No, all I talk is Disney, and I need to get a cat or something. I don't know.
Wow.
I got the duckling.
Hey, remember, Gared, when you had the opportunity to spend time with friends that came out to see you in Walt Disney World and then you didn't? Remember that?
You remember that one time?
I definitely remember that.
Yeah, I
think
for
Tyler
sure
and Katrina
remember that
do.
vividly. Yeah, I even have the text to prove it.
No, I'm hiding my face now in sticky note.
Oh, is that how that works? Yep.
You look like a bug or something. Oh,
He's such a
okay.
good sport. We love to
That's
shame
how you wear a
him.
mask.
Bless our
We
sweet
love,
Gared.
we love Gared. We love Gared.
The show wouldn't be the same without him, and all the notes that he takes. Look at that. See,
I feel like a stormtrooper now, except on Disney's new budget.
he's very notable. That's our Gared. Well,
Hey, I got a blow off.
Notable. I see what you did there.
thank you, sir. That ends it for us. My gosh, what a broadcast. We want to thank you all for being a part of today's show, always tuning in, always catching us on demand as well. If you don't make the live show, remember, you can check out everything we do over at the Kingdom Report on YouTube, and we will connect you to more of what makes you happy next week, Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. And remember, the legacy of Walt Disney, well, it lives on because of people like you and me. Have a magical week.